Welcome to Black Cell Sports Talk. It's your boy Goody Good. Pledge allegiance to the nation. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're rocking with me. If not, you can walk the plank and go straight down to Davy Jones' locker, man. Let's get it.
Kato on the track, damn.
So today, pretty bad day for the Raiders, man. Pretty bad day for the nation. First, the Chiefs win 38-35 to the Eagles off of a terrible penalty call at the end of the game. What's going on, NFL? Y'all got to stop this nonsense with these penalties. It's making the game look fixed. It's making fans uh, lose faith in the game, man. I mean, that penalty call ruined a classic game. Usually, I'm not really into the game if my team is not playing, but that game was something to look at. Two juggernauts going at it. High scoring game, high powered offenses. Both teams playing at an elite level. Both coaches coaching at an elite level. And for the game to be decided by a penalty that I believe wasn't a penalty, especially a penalty that should be called in that situation. It's very disappointing. And the Chiefs go ahead to win the Super Bowl. It's disgusting. But that's not even the biggest news for the Raider Nation. Biggest news for the Raider Nation is 2 hours before kickoff, Derek Carr decides to steal the headlines and says that he's not going to accept a trade to the New Orleans Saints. Let me tell you how I feel about this. I'm surprised that Derek Carr decided to leave the way he did and to pull this off like this. I think when the Raiders benched him, it was a professional business decision. Okay? They wrote a contract for Derek Carr that allowed them to get out of the contract after a year if they decided they didn't want to move forward with him. Because they didn't feel like he was worth the $40 million price tag. If you guys are not paying attention to the NFL and these quarterback contracts, the quarterback market is getting ridiculous. You got people like Ryan Tannehill getting 35 plus million. You got Kirk Cousins getting close to 30-40 million dollars. And now you got Lamar Jackson wanting a Watson contract like with 230 million guaranteed. This quarterback market is getting ridiculous. Okay, it's getting ridiculous, and I hate to say this, but thank God for the 49ers to draft a person like Brock Purdy to come in and change the game. Change the game not by his play, but it's allowing GMs to take a look at how franchises should be built. When the 49ers go out there and they get a 7th round quarterback that performs the way he did, almost bringing them to the Super Bowl, and he's getting paid well less than $2 million a year, okay? and he performs that way, how many teams wouldn't want a quarterback that plays like that under $2 million instead of paying a Lamar Jackson $50 million or paying a Derek Carr $40 million? Okay? It changes the game. And it might be a couple more years, or it might take another late round draft pick that starts early for GMs to start catching on. But I've already caught on that the college game is getting played more in the NFL now. RPOs, one read option plays. I'm trying to tell you that the college quarterbacks that are getting groomed right now are playing at a much higher elite level than they were 10 years ago. So the quarterbacks that are coming in right now, they're ready to play right now in today's game. Now, a few years back when you could still, be a little bit rough with the wide receivers and you could hit the quarterback and stuff like that and bump wide receivers off their routes, it took a little bit more skill. But in today's game, these college quarterbacks are ready. And that's why I don't feel like you should have to pay quarterbacks this type of money. And this quarterback market, it's reached its bubble and it's burst. Okay, it's done. It's done for. It's time to reset the quarterback market. Not reset it by going up, but reset by lowballing these quarterbacks. And it shows in Derek Carr. Derek Carr did not have a very good season this year. And I'm disappointed in how he dealt with his benching. Professional athletes get benched all the time when they don't perform correctly. We have given Derek Carr 9 years, 9 loyal years. This was all during Mark Davis's regime. Okay? This was Mark Davis's baby with Reggie McKenzie, picking Derek Carr in the second round 9 years ago. Not many quarterbacks get 9 years with a team and they're not winning. And what I mean by not winning, he hasn't had many times where he's won our division. He hasn't had many times where he's had a winning record, and he hasn't won any playoff games. And I know a lot of people will sit there and they'll blame, we've had the worst defense and he didn't have this and he didn't have that. Check it out, man. Derek Carr was a second round quarterback. So he got his rookie contract reset like 3 years in. He got a new contract. And when he got that new contract, he was the highest paid quarterback for like 2 days. He was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, you guys. He was highest paid, probably the highest paid player when you look at it. He was the highest paid player for like a couple of days. 3 years into playing in the NFL. And he didn't win any playoff games. He didn't win in this and any of that. He had a glimpse where he looked like he was about to be the MVP, and then he broke his leg, right? But in taking all of that money, taking the top dollar, all right, it didn't allow Gruden to make a decision on whether he was going to pay Khalil Mack the highest paid player in the NFL. I don't know if you guys remember that, but you had Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack. Both were considered top 3 players in the entire NFL at the time. You had Tom Brady, you had Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. I even put Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald above Aaron Rodgers at the time in terms of play. These guys were completely dominant, okay? And it was time for them to get their contracts. Aaron Donald wanted to be the highest paid player in the NFL, and Khalil Mack wanted to be paid the highest paid player in the NFL, and rightfully so. They had valid reasons so. We haven't seen dominant defensive tackle like Aaron Donald probably ever. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, back in the days, but it's been a long time since we've seen an old school player like Aaron Donald. And Khalil Mack was the first all pro at two different positions in the same year. Okay? Like he was all pro linebacker, all pro DN in the same year. I mean, we're talking about utterly dominant players, right? So rightfully so, they needed their bag. They needed their bag, and they were waiting on each other to go ahead and sign. So when Gruden came in, Gruden's an offensive guy, right? Now, if Derek Carr would have took less money, whether it be $5 million less, $6 million less a year, we could have signed Khalil Mack. But instead, we had to reset everybody because Gruden's like, okay, well, if I got to pay you top dollar, I still got to bring my own players in the way I want to see the team. So I'm going to trade Khalil Mack. I'm going to trade Amari Cooper. Okay? And then we get to where we're at now. It's time for Derek Carr to get his new contract at the beginning of this season, right? And I'm proud of this new regime and McDaniels and Ziegler not taking the bait. A lot of you guys call McDaniels stupid and this, and they don't know what they're doing. But look, Mark Davis wanted to trade Derek Carr once they got to Vegas. He wanted Tom Brady. It was Gruden's call that made Derek Carr stay there. All right? A lot of people are mad at Mark Davis and they want him to sell the team. I'm going to say this. You want an owner that's going to go ahead and get a GM and stay out the way. You don't want a GM that's going to meddle in who you draft, meddle in all this other stuff. You want a GM to make intelligent decisions by getting a GM that he likes and stays out the way. That's what Mark Davis does. He gets a GM that he likes. He gets out the way. He opens his wallet. What more can you ask for, right? I'm not saying he's the greatest, but those that are blaming Mark Davis, you guys are wrong. So Mark Davis allows Gruden to go ahead and take Derek Carr over Tom Brady, right? And then he goes and sees Tom Brady win a Super Bowl. And he sees Derek Carr losing season after season, right? We make it to the playoffs off of a fluke. You guys might want to say, oh, this happened and this happened. Derek Carr did this. No. We got into the playoffs off a fluke. We weren't supposed to be there. Okay? We were battling teams that were superiorly injured down the stretch. And that's how we got in. All right? So, that happens. We get the new regime. McDaniels and Ziegler. Everybody's excited at the concept of those two coming in and bringing offensive mind coach that will change the direction of our team, right? A lot of people were mad at the way Gruden was calling plays because it was just a lot of smash mouth football. I didn't mind it, but a lot of people did. They said it wasn't original. So McDaniels comes in, young-minded football coach, and Ziegler decides to go ahead and trade for Davante Adams. He gets Derek Carr, his best friend, and now our team looks like it's ready. It's ready to compete with anybody. All this firepower. You got JJ in the backfield. You got Waller, Third and Renfro, Tay, and Derek Carr. Okay, we should be able to go straight back to the playoffs and beat everybody, right? No. We still had a lot of holes on defense, and Derek Carr did not click with this playbook. But Ziegler was so smart in that he made this contract with an out. And it was very intelligent for them to do that. So when it got to Derek Carr getting benched, he wasn't professional about it, man. He took his ball and he went home. And then there was a narrative spewed that the Raiders wronged him. The Raiders did this, the Raiders did that. And my boy Docs said something that was very real on Twitter today. When you baby a player for 9 years, this is the result, you guys. This is the result. We coddled and babied Derek Carr so much that when we benched him, he didn't grab the clipboard and support his team and support Jarrett Stidham and starting his game against the 49ers. Instead, he took his ball home and he cried and whined about it. He allowed his brothers to talk about the franchise in a negative way. And the worst thing to me, and if you look at my timeline, I didn't even want to comment on it really, is Derek Carr came out with a letter. You would expect somebody that says he bleeds black and silver, and that he does this, he's for the team. If he is traded or this, that, he will not play for the team. He'll retire. He's a diehard and all this. You would expect somebody that says all that to give a proper send-off, right? Because it wasn't the team that kept him from going to the podium and addressing the Raider Nation and telling them, hey, you guys, I love you guys, but we're about to part ways. There's no bad blood in between us. It's just a business decision on both sides. I'm not a good fit, but I wish the best for the team. No, it was him crying about it after he already got his way in getting Davante Adams. He got his way in the contract the way he wanted it, right? And he didn't perform, and then he cried about it, took his ball, and went home, right? And then to top it off, we allowed him to tell us which teams he was interested in going to. We go to those teams. We say, hey, are you considering Derek Carr? If so, agree to some compensation and we'll allow you to talk to him. The Saints said, okay, agreed on a compensation package. We allowed Derek Carr to go out there and fly out there. He goes out there twice. He tells a different team, many speculate that it was Carolina, that he's not talking to any more teams, and he canceled a meeting with another team while he was talking to New Orleans, right? Everybody's putting in the meeting went well. He's going back to Vegas, goes back to New Orleans for a second meeting. Maybe it was to bring his wife to look around the area or whatever. Then he decides 2 hours before the Super Bowl to drop a bomb on the nation that he's not going to accept a trade. I think it's corny. I'm not mad. I'm just done with Derek Carr. I don't wish him anything. I don't wish him a bad rest of his career. I don't wish him success neither, though. I just don't care. All right? Because of the way he showed who he is. This is who he is. Now, this is two things. And either way it goes, it really doesn't really look good. Okay? Either he goes back and signs with the Saints after we cut him, which means he did this despite the Raiders for benching him, which I think is soft, right? Or he goes to a different team and he signs because the Saints wouldn't give him the guaranteed money in this contract that the Raiders gave him. So that means that he's going for the money. Okay? So it goes back to what I was saying from his first contract after a rookie. He took top dollar. When he was ready to get a new contract with the Ziegler McDaniels regime, we had to give Davante top dollar, and he wanted top dollar, even though we already given him JJ, re-signed Max Crosby, All these players. He still wanted top dollar. Okay? Now, I'm not mad at anybody that goes for the bag. I'm really not. I understand it. Go for the bag. Get as much as you can. But don't go for the bag and then complain that you don't have this or don't have that or don't have a defense. No. If we give you the bag, you win. Because that's what we're paying you for. When we pay a quarterback $40 million, we're not paying for a game manager. We're paying you $40 million to take over the game, to put the team on your shoulders. And guess what? At 6-11, you did not show that. So you shouldn't have been mad for getting benched. You shouldn't have been mad for getting benched. That's how I feel about it, Nation. I'm not mad at, car stands, fans, whatever. If you guys still support the dude, but I feel like this dude is a 100% J-Cat, 100% lump cake. He is absolute buster, man. You know what I'm saying? He is a yellow belly, man. For real. I can't stand him, bro. That was whack what he did. And I think a lot of that was influenced by his brothers to not take the trade. Okay? And that's fine. I just feel like you cut off your nose to spite your face. And I don't think his best football is ahead of him. I think his best football is past him years ago. And this is not going to look good on him when he wants to walk back into that building as once a Raider, always a Raider. Fans are always going to remember this. Especially me, because I thought you were the one. I thought you were going to be that guy to take us, but you could never level up. You could never level up. After you broke your leg, you were a shell of yourself. Bosa, as much as I don't like him, he's right. As soon as you feel pressure, you crawl up into a fetus position. Straight up. Straight up fetal position. So, that's how I feel about the situation, Nation. All those that feel some type of way about it, don't get mad about it because the cap space was worth more than any mid-round pick we was going to get for Derek Carr. This allows us to go get our quarterback, and we should all be excited about who our next quarterback is going to be. So, that's how I feel, you guys. I love y'all. Salute. Black Sails out.